Right, 25 August 2024. And as usual, I'll be giving you my daily update on the news that is trending on this Sunday. And today I want to quickly look at what is happening within ZANU-PF. There is a massive succession fight in ZANU-PF between Mnangagwa and General Chiwenga. And the reason is, obviously, Mnangagwa doesn't want to go, and his supporters are currently making plans for him to stay. So they want Mnangagwa to stay in office for as long as possible. And there is a report today that Mnangagwa is making even more efforts to stay as the president of Zimbabwe. And if you go to the Standard newspaper of today, there is a story there that shows that many people are visiting Mnangagwa's farm in Kwekwe to swear allegiance and also to put themselves on a list of people that support Mnangagwa as opposed to the list of people that support Chiwenga. And on the screen, the man that you're looking at there is called Douglas Kwenda. And the newspaper says Douglas Kwenda is currently keeping a list of all people that are in support of Mnangagwa and who have come to the farm. And Douglas Kwenda is very close to Mnangagwa. He runs a bakery called DCK Bakeries there in Midlands. So it runs in Gweru and Kwekwe. And he's well known for giving Mnangagwa some bread. If you remember, some time back, he gave Mnangagwa some bread in his motorcade. He was in the car with Mnangagwa, and recently he shared some bread with Mnangagwa here. And he claims that he can make 100% bread using local wheat. That is what he's known for. But currently, he's busy compiling a list of all those people that are in support of Mnangagwa and not Chiwenga. So this is what has been happening. And what this means is if you don't support the ED 2030, something could happen to you. And that means you are on a list of the bad people. Basically, that is in short what it means. And Douglas Kwenda here keeping the list, making sure that people stay in line and in support of the ED 2030 or the plan by Mnangagwa to stay beyond 2030. You've heard that Mnangagwa says he doesn't want to stay beyond 2030. What the newspaper says, the Standard newspaper says, is that Mnangagwa would like to select his own successor. And Chiwenga is not that successor. He doesn't want Chiwenga as his successor. I don't know what has happened between Chiwenga and Mnangagwa, but it's clear that they do not want Chiwenga to take over from Mnangagwa. Chiwenga has done a lot of work for Mnangagwa. He is the one who made sure that Mnangagwa comes back to become president. And currently, there is no one in ZANU-PF who is as powerful as General Chiwenga. General Chiwenga has done a lot of groundwork. And I believe that he's got the necessary funds to push a campaign. So let's see what happens. But it's obviously going to be very dramatic. If you're on that list of people that don't support Mnangagwa, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble. So let's see how people maneuver in this current situation, which is developing, where a list is being kept at Mnangagwa's farm, pre-kept farm in Kwekwe, of who has visited, who supports Mnangagwa's ED 2030, and who has not visited, who is seen as supporting Chiwenga. And you know what will happen if you support Chiwenga? You have to be careful what happens to you. I would like to now go to the next story. I'm going to be very quick today. Let's see what is happening in South Africa. In South Africa, the Consular General of South Africa to Dubai. So the man I'm displaying here on the number 2 from the left is the Consular General of the UAE, of South Africa and the UAE, Tshepo Lebona. He has been asked to come back home after some security breaches in the UAE, in Dubai, Lebona is accused of selling handwritten visas, bypassing the process which is done through VFS. So if people wanted to apply for visas, they have to go through VFS Global, but he bypassed that process by giving visas directly to people to come to South Africa. That includes work visas and business visas, and charging money for those visas. I guess a whole lot of money. And then he also allowed his son, Lebona. So that is Tshepo Lebona is the one at the top there. He allowed his son to attend meetings. So the Consular General of South Africa allowed his son to attend meetings of the embassy with investors. And he also gave him a diplomatic passport so that he could attend those meetings as if he was a member of the embassy or an official of the embassy, although he was not a member of the embassy, which is crazy. And his son is called Umelo. Umelo is the son who was attending these meetings with the officials. And this is not allowed. It's not allowed for someone who's not an employee of the embassy to attend meetings of the embassy. So that is what happened. And that is why he's being recalled to come back home. And then in terms of sport, Dynamos has beaten Zesco of Zambia. So they're proceeding to the next level of the championship, of the continental championship. You'll be getting more details of that. They drew 0-0 in Zambia yesterday, and on aggregate, Dynamos won 1-0. Then in terms of the villas, the presidential villas are not complete at all. This is the current state of the presidential villas at Mount Hampton. The roadworks have not been done. There is no electricity. There is no connections, no roads. This thing is not done. And a lot of money has been spent on the presidential villas. So this is the first single story buildings. The double stories are not even finished. And this material has been imported from China. So all this cement that I'm seeing here, the cement blocks, as simple as they are, have been imported from China. The engineering sector of Zimbabwe has died. The construction sector of Zimbabwe has died. All the big engineering and construction companies have left the country. And this has resulted in this situation where the Zimbabwe government has to go overseas to get people to do building because the local contractors are not doing a good job. The local contractors are not capable of even producing a simple house like this. And the amount of money that is being spent on foreign employees is extremely huge. However, this is not unique to Zimbabwe. There is a massive problem in this region where people cannot do simple things. Like there are projects that I can tell you here in South Africa where they've had to go overseas for something very basic. They are unable to do simple things. And I don't want to mention some things that had to be gone out of the country for here because of the type of engineering skills that are there. So there's a big need to develop the engineering sector of Zimbabwe, and especially when you look at construction. The Mount Hampton city of Zimbabwe has got a 10-year plan. And according to a story in the Herald newspaper, they've repossessed 15 farms for this city. The master plan for the Mount Hampton city was supposed to take 10 years from 2008. Now we're in 2024, which means they have failed to meet the plan already of developing this city up to where it is supposed to be. So already they're not going to be able to complete the city. They're now talking of rail. So I just had a look, and they're now talking of rail. They're now talking of a rapid bus transfer system. All these things that I'm talking about here, they're not supposed to be happening at such a slow pace because they are using the wrong funders. You need funding. And when you need funding, you don't go to Dubai, you don't go to India. Like I was saying, Chiwenga was going to India and all these other places. If you want funding, you go to these guys who've been helping the guys in Tanzania. The guys in Tanzania have been helped by the Chinese to build this city. They build the whole city from scratch and they finish. They come there for a purpose. They don't play around and they develop your city. And there's no one in this capital city. That is what should be happening. You go in there, you get the people, you get the train to run. And before you know it, 1 million people will be living in the Mount Hampden. There'll be transport, there'll be roads, there'll be rapid buses. That is how it is being done in other countries. And speaking of Chinese trains, in South Africa, they're having a massive problem. They thought they could do without the Chinese. This is a train from China. There are 450 of these trains owned by Transnet. They canceled the train contract with the supplier, I think CRRC of China in 2019. And now 200 out of those 450 trains are not working. So the Chinese are doing a great job in terms of this kind of infrastructure, which is trains and infrastructure, road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, construction infrastructure. You need the Chinese guys to come and do the construction over there. But that means you have to follow the terms. And when I talk of following the terms is when you build a city, make sure it works, make sure it's functional, and make sure you can get revenue out of it. The problem is our guys don't have a long-term plan. So when Mnangagwa starts a plan or a project, it's not connected to other projects. And it doesn't move fast. There's too much corruption. And eventually they don't have any revenue coming out of the projects. So there is no development right now that Mnangagwa has started where they've started getting revenue. So they just do a project. For example, Machekerano was built there. There's no revenue being generated. If you go to Mbudzi Interchange, there's no revenue being generated. If you go to these villas, there's no revenue being generated. If you look at Parliament, there's nothing around Parliament that generates revenue. So there is no ecosystem. Everything that Mnangagwa does is like individual projects. There's no connection among all these projects that they're doing. So they don't have a bigger picture of what needs to be done in Zimbabwe to make it a successful country. Then I want to have a quick look at the newspapers. Today we're awaiting the Hopewell situation. Everyone in Zimbabwe is just awaiting for 6 o'clock tonight to see what Hopewell says. He says he's going to reveal details about both ZANU-PF and Chamisa. So Mnangagwa and Chamisa is going to reveal details about how they've received money before the elections and how they use that money. He is making accusations on Nelson Chamisa, saying that he's withholding or holding back development of the opposition, and the two men's relationships have totally deteriorated over the past few months, but it has gotten worse. The relationship between Chamisa and Hopewell, it needs mediation or it needs a dialogue already. The two guys are going at each other like crazy. So let's see what Hopewell does. His whole reputation as a journalist hangs on this. And the Zimbabwe is waiting for Hopewell to make the mistake of coming up with a half-baked evidence. And you will never hear the end of it. Hopewell will never hear the end of this. If it does not handle this carefully, you will never hear the end of this thing. So I want to take you to the Sunday Mail newspaper. It's out. President Nyusi to open Zimbabwe Agricultural Show. The Zimbabwe Agricultural Show is going to be running this week. And President Nyusi is going to be opening this thing. President Nyusi and President Mnangagwa are becoming very close to each other. President Nyusi, it's his last term in office. He has already handed over, unlike others. He has handed over. So President Nyusi is expected to, in the country, to officially open the Zimbabwe Agricultural Show on August 27. August 27 is Tuesday. So today is 25. On Tuesday, President Nyusi is going to be in Zimbabwe. There are also agriculture shows happening elsewhere. So in Matabeleland, I saw the Keno Minyotabo, she was speaking. I'll try to find that video later on. And then there are also other places where they've been opening these agriculture shows this week under the Zimbabwe Agricultural Society. And I showed you yesterday what's happening with the CEO of the Zimbabwe Agricultural Society, Matibiri. So you can go and check out what I said yesterday about Matibiri. Is over there in yesterday's episode. Then let's see if there's anything else of interest here in this newspaper. I will give you more details if there's anything of interest. But today we're expecting the burial of Captain Fungai, who passed away in Malawi during the Malawi plane crash. He's called Captain Fungai Majakwara. He's going to be buried today after that crash, a sad crash in the sad situation that happened. So there's a lot here in this newspaper. I haven't had time to go through this newspaper, so I'll give it to you, details to you. You can also go and check the Sun and Mail website. They do carry all these stories here. It's free on their website, and there's a massive number of adverts in this newspaper. So let's take, for example, NASA. NASA has advertised a whole bunch of jobs, right? The company secretary, they're looking for a system developer, they're looking for a business intelligence developer, they're looking for a web developer, they're looking for a medical officer. So go check out the Sunday Mail newspaper. If you are looking for a job, this is the place for you to go and get a job. Massive, big newspaper. And Mnangagwa is all over this place like a rush. You can see he's over here about SADC. No one cares about SADC. People want money, they don't care about SADC. But Mnangagwa thinks SADC is the most important thing on earth. I don't think SADC is that important with what they've been doing over the past few weeks. They are going to lose funders, and it's said what they're doing over there at SADC. In terms of SADC, let's see if they've said anything today. Okay, nothing today. SADC last posted 2 days ago, and they're probably resting after that whole week of Zimbabwe. They had a lot of work that they were doing in Zimbabwe. I now want to look at Sunday news and see if there's anything there. There is nothing in the actual newspaper, but I want to show you this story that they're carrying. Sunday news is talking about this ranger. This is the most successful ranger, or the most baddest ranger in Zimbabwe. Is a game ranger, and this game ranger just got awarded, and he's called Captain Benjamin. No, not Captain. He's called Ranger Benjamin Never. He's been involved in 10 shootouts with armed poachers over the past years, and out of those shootouts, 6 poachers have died during the shootouts with the ranger Benjamin Never, and he was awarded bravery. So he has managed to recover some rifles, some elephant tusks, and he's been working here for a very, very long time. So there are many rangers who were awarded here, but a massive number of rangers, including senior ranger Duncan Muzamba. So I want to show you Captain Muzamba, senior ranger Muzamba. Otherwise, the senior ranger will call me and say, Gambakwe, you favored the other ranger, but why didn't you favor me? You must also favor me. So let's see if I can show you this other ranger, Ranger Muzamba. So that's Ranger Muzamba there. You can go check it out on the website of the Sunday Mail newspaper. These guys, they do a very dangerous job, which is to fight poachers. And poaching is a menace in this region, where people just go around shooting animals and carrying their tusks. They don't even care how many animals they shoot. Like one guy can shoot 8 elephants and go away with the whole bunch of tusks just to make money. which they use for all those pills that you guys are buying in Harare. They're made from those tusks. They believe that these things work, but actually they don't work. You're damaging your body if you drink or eat those things. Right, so let's recap. And then tonight, I'll give you guys more detail. I'm going to be live here at 6. I'll be streaming the exposition or the revelations by Hopewell, and then we'll do some analysis. So what we said is that currently, Mnangagwa, through his supporters in the Midlands, are keeping a list of all those people that support Chiwenga. They are keeping a list of everyone who comes to visit the farm of Mnangagwa, where a lot of people have been going to show allegiance. And the man who is keeping the list here is the man that I'm displaying over there. He is the man that is keeping the list of those who support the ED 2030. He's called Douglas Kwenda, who runs DCK Bakeries, according to the Standard newspaper. So if you're not supporting Mnangagwa, you are on the bad list. And if you're supporting Chiwenga, you're on the good list. But all I can say is choose wisely. Because one way or the other, some people are going to win and some people are going to lose. And it's not good to choose too quickly. Sometimes it's better to not choose and just watch and see the situation develop. Because in my studies, long back, I was taught that the first people who move first, the one who moves first, even if he's got a good idea, that person loses. People turn against him. And eventually someone else takes over using the very same ideas. So if you're a smart person, stay away from the drama. Pretend as if you are not there. Let those people show themselves, and then you'll be successful. And then EM says, Hope was going to shame himself. Get my words, a journalist without sense of what to say. But guys, let's see what he says first. Because there's nothing I like more than hearing someone speak. So I don't want to stop people say, don't talk. And Chamisa said it yesterday. Go to Chamisa's Twitter. You're going to see what Chamisa said. He says, so let me say it in the exact words of Chamisa, so that people don't get confused. Don't think Chamisa is afraid or wanting Hopo not to speak. So it's only the people around Chamisa. Remember, around Chamisa, there are some people who are benefiting. And they think that if Chamisa is exposed, now I'm going to lose out. It's not like that. It's not Chamisa who says people don't talk. It's the friends or the people who are around Chamisa. Those people are the same people who end up going to the Herbert School to Tshepo School of Ideology, because they don't have the values of democracy. The values of democracy don't allow you to stop someone from talking. If someone comes to me and says, Gambakwe, why are you talking? I know already from the Herbert School of Ideology, and you don't belong in the future of our country. So now let's look at what Chamisa said. The whole duty of the man. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it is good or whether it is evil. I don't know if you guys get it. Chamisa is saying, bring out the whole truth. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. So do not be worried and do not be concerned. We want to hear the details. The only disappointing thing to me is someone who comes and says, I'm not going to say this thing because this one is going to say this. Don't be like Igbo. Come out with the whole truth. If you say you know something, come out and say what you know. Do not tell us a half-baked story. So that will be the only disappointing thing for me. If I hear a story that says, oh, someone else said this and someone else said that, we want to hear a document said this, that lawyer. People are claiming that there's Mr. Peters. Want to know who is Mr. Peters. Want to know who is Davido. All those things that are being alleged. We don't want to hear rumors. We want people who say, ga, 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 and we hear the story, then we judge for ourselves. So I am not going to listen to anyone who says, Gambakwe, Chamisa is our change, is our best foot forward. Chamisa himself has said it to you here. Let the whole truth come out. He knows it's clear. So he has said it, that is clear. He's challenging Hopo to come out with the truth. And let's not stop the men, because we don't want tomorrow to say, to have another drama for a week, waiting for the truth to come out. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'd like to appreciate all your support. We have a long road ahead of us. And when I talk of a long road, I'm talking here between 2035 and 2040. That is when you're going to see a normal Zimbabwe. Right now, our country is behind by over 100 years. Zimbabwe has not developed in the past 100 years. New administrations have came into Zimbabwe, and each one has failed to develop our country. We need a new approach, a different approach to make our country work. And that approach will be based on a 50-year strategy, long-term thinking, not short-term thinking. That is what we need to do. And we're capable. We need to do what needs to be done to make our country a success. And that means we have to go through some very difficult moments. We cannot continue the way we've been doing in Zimbabwe over the past few years, over the past 20 years, over the past 44 years. We need a new country. And that new country is going to come from us, especially the young men in Zimbabwe. We need young men who stand up, do not delegate your responsibilities to other people. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll be back here in the evening. Tonight, I'll probably show up 2 times. Let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of drama we see today. Thank you very much, and a good day.